Yep, I can't hear you, so that's good. Thank you. So we are ready to roll on Facebook Advertising Explained. And again, if you have trouble with this during the webinar now, if you're having technical difficulties, text me. If you have a question about Facebook advertising, use the chat box here. And again, this is being recorded. You'll receive it afterwards. So we are here today. Yep, Deb, you are muted. And I can see that you're here and that you've typed in the chat box. So I want you to keep this assignment in mind as I talk. There's an assignment at the end of this. There's no way for me to require you to do it and to grade you, but I hope that you will do it. I want you to commit to spending a tiny amount of money based on what you learned today on a Facebook ad. I want you to study the results of that ad, and then I want you to make a plan for how you will go forward with Facebook advertising. So keep that in mind as I talk, if you would. So the most common question I get when I start talking about Facebook advertising is, how much does it cost? And the answer is, it costs whatever you want it to cost. And that's not me being a smart aleck. It is the way Facebook is constructed. So if you have $7 to spend, you can spend $7 and you will get some action on your ad on Facebook. That will become clear to you as I continue to talk, but just know that the most common thing I do is spend $1 a day on an ad. And then how long that ad runs is up to me. There's no requirement on the part of Facebook. So $1 on an ad is the minimum, and then you can go up to $1 zillion if you want, or up to $7 if you want. And that'll become clear to you, I hope. If you have used Facebook advertising at all in the past, I hope you would type in the chat box and tell me that you've done that so I know what your experience is. But let me keep going while you do that. Most people get their feet wet in Facebook advertising, Facebook's paid products, by doing one of these two things. They have boosted a post or they have promoted an event. And what I mean by that is you wrote a post on Facebook and then you paid Facebook some money to spread it further and wider. Or you created an official event, capital E, an official event on Facebook, and then you paid some money to spread that event further and wider than you would otherwise have. And you do that because it gets people, it gets beyond the number of likers you have. That's why we pay Facebook for the privilege of advertising to people who have not yet liked our page. In other words, have not yet found our stuff. So here's just a shot at what a boosted post, how a boosted post is constructed. And we'll get more detail on this in a minute. But here's a post that I made about another webinar I have coming up in January. I made the post yesterday, or November 21st, sorry. And it still lives in the brain of Facebook on my Facebook page. I could, at this moment, press this button, boost post, and then have an opportunity to tell it where to go beyond the 500 or so likers I have on my page at the moment. And what I mean by where to go is I can tell it to reach people just in Manchester who are female, who are over age 40. So that's just a clue, and we're going to get into more detail there, but that's how you would do a boosted post if you haven't done that at all. And boosted events. So what's showing on your screen at this moment is a list of events, capital E, that I have created on Facebook for my author page. I'm also an author in addition to a social media person. I've created events for some things that are happening, as you see there, January and March. And I have just let them live in Facebook, but I could at this moment guarantee that more than the average number of people would see it, and I would do that by hitting this button here called Boost Event on any one of these three. Boosting event and boosting a post are virtually the same process, and we're going to get into what that process is in a minute. But both of these, just so you know, if it's a boosted post or a promoted event, that's a paid product, something you pay Facebook for the privilege of doing. So you could reasonably ask the question, why do you want to pay Facebook for this opportunity? And it's to get beyond the number of people you can reasonably expect to reach with not paid, unpaid posts. So here's a post I did yesterday. This is the one I did yesterday. And it's showing me today that I've reached 47 people and one person engaged with it. That means they liked it, commented, or shared. I can now pay Facebook by boosting the post to get beyond those 47 people that have done something with it, or beyond that one person who has done something with it. That's why we do it, to go beyond the usual number of likers. Now, those are two types of Facebook paid products that are done after the fact. You create a post and then later you boost it. You create an event and then later you promote it. But know that there are 9 more types of ads that Facebook lets you do that are not after the fact. You build them from scratch is how I like to describe it. But know that the process for each and every one of them is virtually the same, at least in the starter pack. At least as you're starting, they're virtually the same. It looks like we lost Anthony on the line. Anyway, so we'll continue. Why you do that is, yep, oh, it came back. Hi, Shaquila. Why you do that is to get beyond the limits that Facebook has placed on Facebook, on the number of people who see your stuff at any given time, and to get beyond the number of likers to the page. So in other words, Facebook has an algorithm that is dictating how often they present your free stuff to your news feed, and therefore people can see it. And the algorithm dictates at what time of day it goes live or how long it stays up. And then there's your traffic. If you're a person that has a lot of likers and a lot of friends, they might not see your posts for free. And so we're trying to get around that limitation that Facebook has built in its algorithm. So you might say, why does Facebook have this algorithm? And it's a mysterious algorithm. We can't know a lot about it. They won't tell us. It's proprietary. But Facebook is, by all accounts, moving towards a more paid model for us in business. All right, us being there doing family and friend stuff is going to be free forever. But if you're a business, they're really wanting you to pay some money, which seems only sort of fair, except Facebook has more money than God at this point. But that's why they're doing it. And having said that, I've been using Facebook ads for my business and other businesses since they were invented. And I am here to tell you that they do work when you do them properly, and they can work without spending a lot of money. And on that note, I recently did a survey of all the types of print ads I could do in this state and what they would cost. And to place an ad about my business in the leading business publication in this state, which is the New Hampshire Business Review, to place an ad, one tiny ad, maybe the size of my business card, would cost $600 for one shot. And one shot would not be effective. People need to see an ad more than once in order to act on it. Therefore, it was going to cost me way more than $600. And for my little sole proprietor business, that was too big a risk for me to take. And so I do not any longer at this stage of my business do anything in print, because print publications cannot prove to me that somebody has seen my ad, unless I build it as a coupon or something that people are required to bring in and show me. But Facebook ads and all sorts of other online type ads have built into them immediate data that'll show you how many people have clicked on it and acted on it. And that's why I like Facebook ads, because I know immediately if they're working or they're not, and that they don't cost me a lot of money. So I'm going to pause right there and see if anybody's got a question about what I've said so far before we get into the nuts and bolts. Pull up your chat box, ask me a question if we can. I don't see anybody. Steve or Deb, Caroline, Margaret. Okay. I'll keep going. So to have an effective Facebook ad strategy, you need to know exactly who you're trying to reach. So can't really tell who's coming in as who's on the iPhone, but how often do I buy a post? I think that might be Margaret asking that question.
No, that's Shaquanda.
Oh, Sequanda, hi. Oh, you're on iPhone. When you talked, I could see your face. Okay. Sorry about that. So how often is going to depend on your budget. And let's come back to that question at the end of the webinar, how often to do it. It'll become clear and why. So the number one rule as you go forward is know exactly who you're trying to reach. And that's good strategy for anything related to your business. Who is your target market? Who is it that needs to see your ad? And here are common demographic indicators that apply to your business, who you're trying to reach, and apply to Facebook ads. Facebook has these demographic indicators built into it. It's how old are they? What is their marital status? What is their gender? You can pick in Facebook male, female, or all. And by the way, I always use women, not men, because women make the majority of the buying decisions. At least in my industry and in most industries, women are the ones that make the decisions. Isn't that interesting? So another indicator is, where do they live? Now, those of you who have brick and mortar stores or serve a very distinct geographic area, this should be a no-brainer for you. Who are you trying to reach? Where the people who are right there where you are? Or are you trying to do something that goes beyond where you physically are located? So I'm going to pick on Anthony and Chikandwa here that they have a beauty hair salon based in Manchester, I believe. Tell me if I'm wrong. And they might just decide we're going to target all the people who are right close to where our shop is, or they might decide, because they have a mobile unit, we're going to target Concord now instead of Manchester. And Facebook makes that really easy. So keep those ideas in mind. Finally, where do they live? And then when you get more into this, you can target people on Facebook based on their interests. What I mean by that is you can deliver an ad about soccer balls to people who have indicated on Facebook in their profile that they are interested in soccer, or they've done searches within Facebook on the term soccer is another way that they can be found. So you can tell Facebook, deliver this ad to women who are in Manchester and who are over age 40 and who have indicated an interest in soccer. And that's why Facebook ads work, because they can be so highly targeted. So let's move on here. Another Chikandwa asked about, is that with hashtags too? Yep. Well, so people can use hashtags on Facebook if they use a hashtag, say soccer, hashtag soccer. If you told that ad, pick up people who have an interest in soccer, they would pick up those people who have used the hashtag soccer. Huh. That's a little in the weeds. Hashtags don't much enter into it in Facebook. And Deb is asking, is there a category of interests for Facebook that we can reference? Yes, when we get to online building this ad, which we'll show you at the end, there's a slot for you to say interests. And when you click that slot, a drop-down menu comes up from which you can pick the interests. And so, in other words, I don't even think you can customize it to type in the word soccer. You have to find the word soccer in my dubious example here, but you have to find the list, the word in the list. That'll be more clear as we go online. Well, I'm going to go online to Facebook and build an ad with you by the end here. So yes, there are categories for you to find. So as you get your feet wet in Facebook advertising, you have to approach it with the attitude of experimentation. So you're not going to know exactly what's going to work for your specific business without trying a few things. So go at it with an experimental mindset and know that there's going to be a little bit of a curve before you get it and a little bit of a curve before ads begin to work. It's not an overnight success. It could be, but most likely isn't. So, but go at it with an experimental idea, and then you're going to study the results of your ads campaigns, and then you're going to repeat what you just did and adjust accordingly based on what you learned, or repeat it just exactly how you just did it because it worked. And that'll be more clear as we get further on. So let's just talk about what the reading public feels about Facebook ads, ads on Facebook. We hate them. When I give these workshops live, people come in and say, I hate those ads. I wish I could turn them off. I'm so sick of seeing them. They are annoying to us, the reader, until they're exactly what we're looking for. So over here on the right-hand side of this screen, you can see fancy dresses at the top and a blue couch at the bottom. Those are ads that were delivered to me, personal me, on Facebook right after I searched for where can I buy dresses fancy enough to go to a wedding, something like that. And at the bottom, I had literally searched for blue love seats. And that is what the ad at the bottom came up shortly after I searched out on Google, by the way, not within Facebook, out on Google for fancy wedding dresses and blue love seats. So right there, they're delivering me an ad at the time I'm thinking about making the purchase. And that's why Facebook ads are so good, because they can do this. They're annoying when the things they're being suggested to you are something you're not at all interested in or ever going to buy, but they're really effective because eventually they're going to be what you are trying to do, with what you are looking for at any given time. So they are annoying. When to do this, and this sort of gets at Shakando asking how often to do this. So think about doing a Facebook paid ad when any of these conditions apply. You are new to Facebook. Let's say you've had a business for a while, but you've just joined the Facebook business page. You are new to business. You just opened a business. It's time to open a Facebook business page and begin to advertise. That's an excellent use of the term of the technology. If you've been in business for a while, but now you've got a new product or a new service, you've expanded in some way, that's an excellent reason to build an ad around it. You are holding an event, and actually this one here should be number one on your list. For me anyway, it's the best possible use of my advertising dollars is to promote an event, capital E, that I've got going on. If that can apply to your business in any way, turn something into an event on Facebook and then boost it. It can be really effective. Another reason to do it, you're just trying to increase your visibility amongst a certain target audience. So again, back to that example of if you are a hair salon and you mainly serve women, but now you've decided there's men's products and men's styles that you have mastered, and now you want to add those, that would be a good reason to begin an advertising campaign on Facebook targeting the men who are not yet your fans or who haven't seen any of your ads. So it's great for targeting a specific target audience. And do it when you don't want to spend a lot of money on other forms of advertising, which for me is always, that example of $600 per print ad. It just is, it is the most cost-effective type of advertising is on Facebook, in my opinion. So where do these ads appear? Let's look at a few examples of what they look like. When you've created an ad using Facebook's ad creation tool, it'll look differently depending upon where it ultimately is shown, on a person's desktop, on their iPhone, or over on their Instagram account, because Instagram and Facebook are connected. I just want to show you the differences here. So here's an ad campaign that I ran for a dog training business out of Keene. So they did one basic ad that looked like this on Facebook on a person's desktop. That same ad breaks up a little differently. The text breaks a little differently. It gets a little smaller, obviously, because it's on a mobile phone. Oops, went backwards too quick, or forwards too quickly. And over on the right is how it looked on Instagram. So not all of you have an Instagram account, but if you do, it is automatically connected to your Facebook account because Facebook owns both of them. And there is a point in the ad building process where Facebook will say, do you want this delivered to your Instagram account as well? And that's an option. You don't have to do it, but Facebook makes it easy to do it if you do have that. It'll be right there in the ad building tool. It'll look something like this when you get that far. So let me pause there and just say that the ad that you build can be promoting anything on the internet. And you can drop in a link to a specific product you might have in your e-commerce store on your website, send them directly to that page as a link built into an ad. So I just want to get that clear. If you have a web presence and some particular page of your website needs to be promoted, you can use a Facebook ad to drive traffic out of Facebook and onto your specific web page that you want them to go to. And you can do that with anything. Anything that has a web address, a URL, can be dropped into a Facebook ad and made clickable so that a person can get directly to it. All right, so I think questions there before I continue. I'm just going to pause here a second, see if you have questions to ask me, and I will continue with answering your questions as we go along. All right, so I talked about a boosted post, and I talked about promoted events. Here's the third best, easiest type of ad you can create, and that is one to just promote the existence of your business page on Facebook. You can build an ad that just says, "Come like my page," and that would be your goal with building the ad. Come like my page. And you should do that when you're new to Facebook and new to business, or when your page count like count is low and you're trying to get it up. And your job all along is always to build up the number of likers to your page. And then once you've been at it for a while, I would advise you to give yourself regular intervals at which you just run an ad that says, "Come like my page, come like my page." So you're not selling anything. You're not promoting a specific event. You're just saying, "Come like my page, come like my page." Because that's just good to keep the count going ever higher. And it's easy. So it's a good way to sort of work on your branding by being present in front of the Facebook audience. So any type, beyond boosted posts and promoted events, any ad that you want to create is created here in Facebook by clicking on the button at the top of your personal presence. You should see a button or where the word says create, and clicking on that would bring this menu, drop-down menu would appear. If you click the word create here, this drop-down menu comes up, and here's everything you can create: a page, an ad, a group, an event. And what we're after here is ad, right? We're going to do this live. This is static at the moment, but we will go live to Facebook in a moment. So you're going to say to it, I'm here to create an ad. And then you're going to, Facebook then asks you, what is the purpose of your ad? What is the goal? What are you trying to achieve? And it starts by these three broad categories of goals you could possibly have. Awareness means you're just trying to build awareness of your business or your product or your service. That's a little bit like branding. Building awareness, you're not expecting any sales. Consideration is, again, just presenting something that you're hoping people will engage with it, and that's like comments or shares, or you're trying to get traffic to a certain website or web area. Under consideration, you have app installs, video views, lead generation. We're not going to talk too much about those, but app installs means an app that you've created. You're trying to sell an app that you yourself have created. That probably doesn't apply to any of you. Video views is a specific type of ad to drive people to viewing a video that you've created, which is really fun. Lead generation is too complicated to get into here today, but I want you to know that there's an ad format right here whose goal is to open a form for the reader, and you're asking the reader to leave their email address so that you can put them on your email list and or send them something for free. It's a great lead generation tool is what the salespeople would call it. And it's an awesome way to build an email list. And then the third type of goal you can have is conversion. Convert somebody means turn them into a paying client or a paying customer. The second one there, product catalog sales. If you were to open that type of an ad, it would lead you to building an ad that directs people to something you've got for sale on your e-commerce website. Store visits would be something like driving people to come into your brick and mortar store, but you're building something like a coupon to get them in the door. Okay, pausing there for questions, comments, concerns before I get further into it. I'm going to turn all your microphones on so you can talk to me for a second, and then so I can hear you ask the questions. Anybody? Any questions out there?
No,
No? You're good?
I'm okay. I'm following along.
Okay. Can see the screen?
Doing good.
Yes.
All right. Carolyn, no questions? Margaret? Okay, we're good here.
Okay, I'm going on mute.
You're what?
I'm going on mute.
Okay, going on mute. I'm going to mute you anyway.
Okay.
All right. Margaret says no questions. I got that via text from her. So those are the three main goals that Facebook suggests you to say, which one are you going to do? So in other words, having an effective ads means knowing what you're trying to do. Don't just get in there and do it willy-nilly. Have a point. So what we're working towards here is building an ad whose sole purpose is to get people to like the page. Stop for a moment. Carolyn said, actually, where does the video need to be hosted? If you were to create a Facebook ad that was a video, that video can be living on your Facebook page anywhere. It can be over on YouTube. If you've stored it there, you can bring the link into the Facebook ad, or it could be on your website or any other person's website. So any place you can store a video online can be built into an ad, and therefore people get directed to it. I hope that answers the question, actually, Carolyn. So let's proceed, and you can drop in here and ask another question. So we're building an ad whose goal is to get people to come like your page. So that falls under on my previous slide, I had consideration was the goal, and a subset of that is engagement. And here's what it says at the top. With an engagement ad, you're going to try to get people to comment, share something, like something, respond to an event, or claim an offer. Claim an offer is a coupon. So what we're wanting is likes to the page. And down here, Facebook is saying, okay, there's a shorthand way of saying what's the point. Page likes is what you want. You're going to click on page likes, and then it goes forward, and it helps you build the ad. From there, it walks you through the steps. But I'm going to stop here and say, this is a place where people panic because Facebook has this default built in with $25, meaning you're going to open it up and it's going to look to you like, I have to spend $25 right now on this little ad to get people to like my page. No, no, no. 25 is just the default they've built in to scare you, or they're trying to lure you into spending that much. You don't have to. So don't panic. And that default $25 is built into every one of the types of ads you can do on Facebook. Do not fall for it. Do not give them $25 simply because they've asked. So here we're back to, here's what we're after. If you were to build a come like my page ad, it's going to look something like this. On the right-hand side is the ad, and this is for my business. I just created this as an example. And over on the left is the building area, the template that Facebook is walking me through building. And again, we're going to do this live, so it'll make more sense in a minute. But I wrote what you see in this box. Facebook said to me, what's the primary text of your ad going to be? I wrote this. I included my website address here. And over here is how it formats itself. Get your superpowers. Get your superpowers. I then chose a graphic from my collection of graphics. Get your social media superpowers. And put that in there, and it picked up. It took the link that I had built in over here in the text. It built it, and it took it over to the bottom of the ad. And if this was live and a person was seeing it, it would be entirely clickable. that they could click through right here to my business website. You see what I'm saying? Off of Facebook over to my business website. But the purpose of this actual ad is to ask people to come give me a thumbs up on my page. This thumbs up. That's what you hope they're doing after they see that ad. We can't control it. We can't force them to do it, but that's what we hope that they're doing. The other things they can do is just like the ad, which is of very little use, or they could comment on it, which is possibly of use, and sharing it would be awesome if they did that. Anyway, so that's what a liking, an ad whose goal is to get you to like the page, that's what it would look like in the end, okay? So back to your budget. How much should you spend? And again, do not take the $25 that Facebook suggests to you. It's entirely up to you, and only you can decide what to spend. I talked to you about, I often do $1 a day. If it's for an event, I'll do $1 a day for like the 4 days leading up to the event. But you could just make any decision you want in here. Here are some rules of thumb. Someone has suggested you should spend as much on an ad as one sale that might result from that ad would bring you. 1/3 as much as one sale. So if you were building an ad like I do to try to get people to an event, and that event costs, the admission is $100, on that ad, you might spend $33. Spend $33 to get $100. You see what I'm saying? So if it's an event type thing, you decide, how much is the admission, where am I going to break even, and spend 1/3 of that. Or another way to think of that, 1/3 of the cost of a product. If they bought a product based on your ad, the product is $20. If they buy it, spend $7 or $6, however many 1/3 of 20 is. Or another way to put it, if your return will be 200% of your investment in the ad. So if you spend $10 in an ad, will you get whatever 200% of 10 is, $200, okay? So that's the way to think about it. And then in short, just to, for your own brain, you want to not spend so much that your return is going to be ridiculous. You don't want to go in the hole over your ads, or you want to just decide, if this is the period of experimentation, which it should be if you're new to this, decide you're going to spend $10 and then see what happens, and then go from there. So let's move on. Before we go live, to build an ad live, I want to show you what would show up if we were doing this live. So stand by. Got to move some things here. All right. So here, the first thing Facebook asks is to set your targeting. Pay no attention to that $25 at the top. Set your targeting. And what that means is Facebook is going to ask you, where do you want, geographically, where do you want this ad delivered? And right here is set to the United States, okay? Then it asks you how old. The people viewing the ad, how old should they be? Right here, the default is age 18 up to 65. So you can only be on Facebook if you're 13 and older, and there's almost no reason to market to 13-year-olds, market to the 18-year-olds so they can buy your stuff. And then thirdly, what's the gender? Men, women, or all? Remember I said before, I usually only target women, sometimes all, never just men. But so that's the way this fake ad here is set up at this moment. The entire United States, all people age 18 to 65, and all genders. And look over here on the right. This is a dynamic thing on Facebook. It moves, the needle moves, depending upon what you've said over here. And right here, Facebook is telling me your audience selection over here is fairly broad. What they mean by that is it's too broad. You will not be successful with this ad because you haven't pinpointed a target. You're trying to send it to everybody. And whatever wonderful product or service you're offering, it's not appropriate for everybody. It's better to be more specific, because the more specific you can be, the more likely it will be that someone will act on the ad, will actually buy your stuff, will actually come to your event, or whatever it is you're asking them to do. One moment. So you can see here on the right that of all the people of the United States who are age 18 to 65, that's a total of, see right here, 195 million people. So I know that all of you have wonderful products and businesses, but probably 195 million people are not going to benefit from it. On this, at this targeting, with this targeting, and programmed in here is $25 by default, it is saying you will reach, sorry, I covered this up, something between 1,200 and 4,200 people on Facebook. So that's how it gets limited by that. The universe of possible people, 195 million, gets limited by your budget, $25, but it still is reaching people. Between 1,200 and 4,200 people will be reached with this ad targeted to everybody in the United States. So it's still going to reach somebody, and that's good, but you better would be to be more specific about who you're trying to reach. So let's look at an example. Remember the needle was saying too broad, and we've got we've got 195 million people reached. On the next slide, let's take it from too broad to specific. So my target audience is quite often near me, where I live in Peterborough. I'm broadcasting from Peterborough today. I target people age 40 and up, with all due respect to Anthony, etc. 40 and up are people who need me. They need social media help. And I target women, okay? So we went from the entire United States to Peterborough. We went from all people ages 18 and up, and we went from all genders to just female. So I've gotten more specific. And now look what happens. The needle says your audience is defined. And what they mean by that is well defined. It's very specific. It should work. And here's how many people with that same $25, I am still reaching between 1,500 and 3,900 people with this ad. So the universe is something like 100,000 people in that demographic. And of them, I'm going to reach a substantial chunk, a much more substantial percentage than I would have reached if I was targeting the entire United States. Okay, pausing there, because that's kind of complicated. Did I confuse anybody? Did you all get that? I'm going to unmute you and see if you're following along here.
Yeah, all set.
All set? Okay.
Follow along.
Following along. Made sense on the targeting?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Glad to hear you got your sharp group. Okay. So let's try to remember this number, 1,500 to 3,900 at the bottom here. Margaret says she's got it. Okay, continuing.
And that's when you spend $25, correct?
That was 25.
Okay.
And let's just say, because I know I would never spend $25, if I spent $10, that bottom number would go down. The universe would remain the same, but the bottom number would go down, not by a lot.
Right.
So you can still do pretty well with $10. All right. Well, that was the last of that options. I'm going to unmute you. I'm going to mute you all again for the moment. And sorry. So there are. Remember the targeting options I gave you was geography, age, and gender. And there are many more detailed options you can build in there. I mentioned before, interests. You can build in, you can do something like Boston and Peterborough, or Boston and Los Angeles. You can combine things that aren't the entire United States, but for some reason, people in Los Angeles are buying your stuff and people in Boston. You can do any combination of geography you want. There's a place in there where you can build in incomes. So deliver this ad to people with an income that is X, or a range. That one I've actually used. It's good to use if the particular product or service you're selling is a high-end luxury thing. You can deliver that ad to people who might have the income to buy it. Okay, so if you're selling cars, you can say, deliver this to people with incomes of X to improve the chances of people clicking through. So income is another one, and there are a few more very specific things you can do with your ads, but we want to keep it simple here. Let's just talk about budgets at the moment. So budgets, here's number 3. here was that. Here's how that would look if you went with the $25, but know that the minimum daily budget for your ad is $1 a day. You can't do less than that, but you can run an ad just for 1 day. So you can spend $1 and see what happens. You can tell that ad run for whatever period of time you want. Usually shorter is better than longer. They say that if you're running the same ad for more than 4 days, after 4 days, it will get seen by the same people in your target group, possibly, so that after 4 days, if people see that same ad, they become sort of blind to it. So consider that. It's not set in stone, but the longer you target something to the exact same audience, the likelihood that people will begin to become blind to it. Carolyn asked, are interests next? Interest comes up in the next part of the building the ad template. We'll look at that when we go to the live version of this, Carolyn. Thank you. So next set is designing. What is the ad going to look like? It's virtually, I spelled that wrong, virtually done for you, the design, if you're doing what we talked about at the beginning, boosting a post, because it's just taking the post you created and formatting it into an ad. It doesn't change the text or the graphic or photo that you came with it. Boosted post is done for you. Promoted event, if you've created the event, the ad or the boost for that event is the same. It's done for you. And like this page is done for you. It takes elements of the business page that you have and just makes them into an ad format. Okay, you still have control of the demographics that it's being delivered to, but the design is basically set. Any of the other options, you could build from scratch and build them with your own high quality images, your own videos, okay? So a little, just a word on images. What's best for the images is to include something that's directly relevant to your product or service. In other words, some of you out there have been with me for a while, and you will see me use this deer face. It's a confused deer, and I just love the photograph. It's not mine. It doesn't have anything to do with what I do except the concept of confusion. I'm here to unconfuse you. So I think it's a stretch that it's relevant to my product or service, and you want it to be the photo or graphic you include with your ad. You want it to be relevant to what you're doing, because if people are tricked by that picture of a deer and thinking you're selling one thing or another, selling one thing and you're doing another, they might be ticked off when they click through on the ad and realize, oh, she has nothing to do with deer. That was a silly example, but that's what they mean by that. Whatever graphic or photo you use with that should be clear at a very small size, because most people are going to look at your ad or see your ad scrolling by on your iPhone. So you want to have something that's pretty clear, able to be understood in a flash so that you can grasp people's attention. And the less text you have over the graphic, the better. In other words, you can build a graphic and put words on top of it. Facebook, first off, doesn't like it and will flag it. It'll say, you might have too many words in this, and they don't like that for some reason. They will let it through, but it's better to keep a clear image or text-free image. So here's, these are fuzzy on your screen just because of the way I built this slideshow, but this was a client I served for a while in an assisted living facility, and they were trying to show the life of the assisted living residents as a way of getting people to come in and check it out. So on the left, you can see it's an elderly resident, and she's participating in an activity involving a horse. That's probably good to know. But let's look at that photograph. There are no faces showing to me, the viewer. And we, as human beings, we respond to human faces. So the one on the right would actually be better. It's less busy. And furthermore, we see her beautiful smiling face at us, and we're going to respond and go, she looks like she's enjoying where she's living. That's what our brain does in an instant. So the one on the left is okay, not great. The one on the right is great when considering whether to use it for an ad. So I'm skipping along here. So this is just a reminder, building any type of ad is virtually the same process we went through with the budget and the geographic locations. and the age and income, whatever you can do. I'm going to just want to say a couple more things, and then we'll try to build an ad live so you can see how it's done. So if you've made posts on Facebook and a particular post is popular, you've probably gotten a pop-up message from Facebook that says, hey, this post is performing X% better than anything else you've done recently. Don't you want to boost it? Or it'll say, boost it for $10. And they promise you the moon if you do that. Sometimes it's good to do that when Facebook suggests it, and sometimes not. And basically, you need to make the decision. Don't take Facebook's word for it. Do it only if it's something that you really do want to be promoting. In other words, you could put up a post that was very, very popular because it was a dancing cat. Dancing cats just sell well on Facebook. But if dancing cats are not what you're selling, you probably don't want to spend your limited marketing budget on promoting a post that really literally had nothing what to do with your business except to entertain your viewers. So take Facebook's word for it with a word of caution. So again, this is fuzzy here, but this is something, here's the message on the left-hand side. This is performing 75% better than a post you did. So I made a post better than anything you've done recently. So I made a post that just included this picture of flowers. This is a gym. It's a fitness center, and a member of the fitness center had brought in the flowers. And I just said, we have the best members, look at these flowers. And this went hog wild on Facebook. People loved it. They liked that they come in and share it because the flowers were pretty, and they probably knew the person that did it. But the organization did not need to be spending money to promote a picture of flowers when what they're really promoting is memberships. Come buy our memberships. So don't do it just because a post was popular. Do it because it fits with your goals, it fits with your marketing strategy, and it fits in terms of it's something that you really want to sell or get people to do. Okay? So here, I'm going to fumble around and get over to Facebook Live. And while I do that, I hope you'll drop in again and ask questions. While I do that, I'm going to unmute you, shout them out if you want, type me a text. And so does that make sense for what I've done so far?
Yes, it makes sense.
Okay.
Can you say that last thing again about don't post for, what was it? Post for anything?
About the gym posting for the flowers instead of posting flowers instead of for their company?
Yes. So Facebook, you two have taken my workshops. Facebook is going to notice when you put up something that is popular, that people have loved it. You put up something that was just for fun and wasn't really showing your product or service. And because it's a popular thing, Facebook notices that, and it will come back and say, this has been so popular, you should boost it. And it makes sense if it was something you were trying to sell. But if it's just that fun thing, and Facebook says boost it, you don't want to spend your advertising dollars you did for fun. That makes sense?
Yes,
Makes
it does.
a lot of sense.
I'm making a quote out of that for myself so I can post up when I'm ready to post.
Yeah. Oh, good to know. Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions out there at this moment?
Nope.
All right, now bear with me. I'm going to hopefully get you to the right screen. Tell me, you who are on the microphones, tell me if what you're seeing on the screen is a list of my events. So it's ticket sales, the slide?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ticket sales.
With the net, a picture in the net.
The ever popular in the net? Yep.
Yep. And then the other one, I can't really see because my eyes are bad. The other one's a net.
The net with a crown.
Yep.
And then you with the glasses and red lipstick.
Very good. Okay.
Got it.
So the rest of you on this call, Nanette is my business partner, and she and I teach video marketing together, which is why she's not here doing this. But I just wanted to make sure you are seeing what I want you to see. So we're now live on Facebook. One moment. Now I'm trying to get back to your chat book. Well, your microphones are open. You can talk as I do this. Talk to me with questions if you have any. But I've screwed myself up here. All right. So to create an ad, I had this pre-opened to the ad building center. Okay. So it's showing you anything that I've done, that I've paid Facebook to do recently. And it largely has to do with my events. You'll see that over on the far right, I spent $2.74 on $2.74. I spent $20. I spent
It was on me.
okay. So
Yeah. Oh, it's still mute.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
She just muted herself.
Oh, okay.
I can't hear you.
oh, sorry. Here it's now you can hear.
Now we can hear you.
Okay. Sorry about that. That was my bad. Now I'm putting you back all on unmute. Can you still hear me? I hope. This page is where you can create an ad. And also if I hadn't opened this, this is in the bowels of my Facebook page, if you pardon the expression, but if I had started on my personal page, the word create would have been up here at the top. And you just need to click on the word create and it opens up the ad creating area. Okay. Now this is showing me something different than what you would see. I'm in Page Manager, but it's the same kind of thing. It's saying to you, what do you want to do? Boost a post, promote your page, promote your business, promote a sign up button. That's something for events too. And right at this moment, we're all about promoting your page. So I clicked on that. So in other words, it's going to walk me through the steps to build the ad. Okay. Look here, I did nothing and this came up. Okay. It's pulling from my cover photo, that big wide photo on my business page. It's pulling, that's this blue graphic here. It knows the web address of the business associated with this Facebook page. This is my own business web address. It built that in for me. It populated it down below where it says Halverson New Media and the click. This is clickable. And again, our goal is to get people to like the page by pressing this button. But look over here on the side. It's giving me a chance to change that image to a video or a slideshow. I won't do that now, but know that those are options and they're awesome options. It's showing me how this will look. It's giving me a chance to add to that little bit of text. Come take my workshops and learn from me, okay? Whatever you needed to say. Now it repopulates itself and look at that. It's took up my text, retains the web address, and it's ready to go. Mostly, I could press the button down here that says promote. That means make this ad go live. But I'm still building this. On the left-hand side, I haven't told it who I want to see them. So again, here we are. It's remembering the last ad I created, which was for Peterborough. It's holding the wrong age group for me, and I'm going to edit that. I just hit the word edit, and it's going to give me a chance to say, moving a little slow today, while it thinks about what it's doing. Look at the bottom. So far, my audience is too specific. It's only included 300 people, 3,000 people, excuse me. Ah, it's really slowed down, I'm sorry. That's my web doing that, it's not the Facebook program. Come back. It's not gonna want me to do that. I'm gonna try it again here. I just wanna point out the pieces to you. I could edit anything in here, target this too, and I will change the age categories, and then you just keep scrolling down. It builds it step by step. So you can say, what is the duration of this ad? And because I've just told you maybe 4 days is enough. The daily budget, remember I said I often spend $1 a day. I'm going to change that to $1 a day. It's telling me, okay, 4 days until December 10th at $1 a day. It then summarizes, you're going to spend $4 for this ad, and it will run for 4 days and end on December 10th. It is saying, what's the payment? Down here, it is remembering me. It remembers the payment type that I've built into it. You would do that too. You can't do anything until you give it a credit card. That might freak some of you out, but just know that I've never had a problem with Facebook's billing or Facebook's using my credit card that I know of. And the reporting is in real time. You can, at any time during the 4 days of running that ad, you can see how it's performing. Facebook will show you 7 people clicked on this. You got 4 likes. The data is there in real time. It's retained forever. And I mean that literally. I can access ads that I created the week Facebook ads were invented, and which is now about 8 years ago. It's all built in and retained within your business page for only you to see, not anybody else. So because this thing is moving slowly, I won't actually attempt to change any of the elements, but know that I could. And this thing is ready to go if I hit the word promote. Let's up. So I think it was Deb who wanted to see how interests came into play. You targeting people by their interests. Or was it Carolyn? Yeah, where to interest. So that would be within this editing of the audience. And let's see if it lets me do it again. Again, it was spinning too long. Yeah, it's not, it's taking too long. I'm gonna try. Sorry, Carolyn, I can't get at the interest, but I will send you a screenshot of how that looks. And Carolyn is asking an extremely good question. She's saying, can you delay the start date? Yep, that place where I told it when to begin. And that's actually extremely good strategy. I told it to start now and go for 4 days, but you can change the start date and end date to any time in the future. This one retained what I did last and is not letting me change it, but trust me, you can change it. And that's a good strategy for how to organize your work life around this. If you know that you have an event coming, let's say it's a holiday party on December 21st, but it's too early here on December 6th to advertise it, you could create the ad, design it, spend a lot of time figuring out who you're going to target, and then tell it, don't start this ad until December 16th or something like that. And then it'll begin automatically. Facebook will literally send you a notification that says this ad started running. And then it'll send you a notification that said this ad stopped. And it does that regardless of when you start and stop. Facebook tells you this one stopped. And when it tells you this one stopped, it shows you a little snapshot of how well it did, how many people clicked on it, how many people bought it, how many people said they were interested in coming. It's really good data and really detailed data that Facebook keeps on each and every ad. It's wonderful in that regard. So I want to just stop here for a moment. My system isn't letting me switch this up very well, but I want to show you what's possible in terms of audience targeting in a higher level view. People you choose through targeting. That's what I usually do. And here's where it says Peterborough, age, and to change that, I can edit it. You can just say people in your local area, which is pretty good option for those of you who have a brick and mortar and a defined service area. Clicking on that, it knows where you are. Right there, you see what I did there? I clicked on people in my local area. It knows where I am. There's me and my face, targeted at Peterborough and 30 miles around the perimeter of Peterborough. Isn't that awesome? So that's something to consider. You can do up to 50 miles or down to, and it actually shows you the map changing, or you can do down to 1 mile. And all of that is really good for really targeting. This is great for an event that you want people to come into your store, or an event you're putting on. You want people to show up at a certain date, and they're not going to come over, in my case, the Temple Mountain, to this event that's happening in Peterborough. You can really hone in on the targeting by doing that. So that's the, so people you choose for targeting is where you would build in with interest, etc. People in your area is an option. Custom audiences is really where it gets, this is sort of advanced Facebook, and I hope someday to be offering an advanced Facebook workshop like this or a webinar, but know that lookalike audiences, I'm just going to click on one to show you what I mean. But what that is doing is, if I chose this option for me particularly, lookalike, I've told it, send it to the people on Facebook who look like people who have already joined my email marketing list. Ooh, let that sink in. I have an email marketing list. Perhaps some of you heard about this workshop through that list, an email that I sent out. And this is, I have tied Facebook ads to my email marketing platform, which is MailChimp. And I've told it, send this Facebook ad to people whose demographic characteristics are similar to ones who've already taken something from me or who've already signed up for my email list. Did I lose anybody there? I've got your mics open. It's kind of a complex problem or thing that I just said. I want to make sure you understand. Everybody good?
No, understand it.
Understood.
Okay, so I think that's an awesome feature that you can target an ad to your email marketing list lookalikes. You know, in other words, people who are women over the age 40 and who are within a certain radius of Peterborough, in my case. But it's pulling it from my email marketing list. It's really wonderful. So those are the, I have some other custom-made audiences that I can pick from that I've made in the past that I don't have to. Margaret says she's stuck with a question, Margaret. Text me the question. But here again, you're still building the ad. All in the ad building area. All of this is customizable. All of it can be very, very detailed and very targeted is my point. One moment, please. Margaret is just saying her system stopped. Never mind. Carolyn is asking, where's the option for the start date? What is the best size for an image? So that Carolyn, because it's wanting not to load for me at this moment, I can't show you where the start date is. But trust me, if you were to build an ad from scratch, there's a point at which it's saying, is it time for you to make this go live? And next to that will be a little calendar feature where you could say, nope, start this next Tuesday and have it run until next Friday. It's in there, you will find it. And the best size for an image, this keeps changing. In other words, if I gave you the size, it would be wrong tomorrow, but you will know in this building area, in this template, whether the graphic you've chosen works. It won't look right if it's too big or too small, and it'll give you a chance to change it again to something that will work. Now, having said that, I want to commend to you the program that probably those of you who have taken workshops from me have heard about called Canva, C-A-N-V-A. And type that here in the chat box. Canva.com is a image creation tool for people who don't have graphic arts backgrounds, and so it's really easy to create things that are the proper size. So Canva will give you a template that is sized for Facebook ads, and if you chose that in Canva, you can build the ad over there and just bring the image over into this ad that you've created, and it'll be guaranteed to be the right size. That's not a cop-out. I love that. I love that feature of Canva. So I've got your mics open and the chat box is still there. Questions you have at this point?
Is this ad that you have, did you use Canva with it?
The one that you're seeing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, good question. I used Canva to create the blue thing here.
Okay.
That says Halverson
Okay.
Media. That is actually, however, it is actually my business card that I created in Canva. I created it in Canva and saved it in Canva and had an actual business card printed out from it. And then I pulled that same graphic in Canva.com. I pulled it from the business card creating area over to the Facebook ad creating area and resized it for me a little bit to make it work. So that was a good question.
It looks very nice.
Yeah. Well, thank you. And I changed. It's not for this purpose here of ad. It's probably not the best graphic I could use. really, as I said before, we respond to people's faces, and it really should include my face or Nanette's or something. But it was something I did in a pinch, and I bring it around every now and then as sort of a branding thing so people recognize from my business card to my website to my Facebook page that it's all the same.
It's in your image.
Yeah. What other questions that you have out there at this moment? Carolyn, are you okay with standing by until I figure out the start date part? And then any other questions? We've got the mic is open and the chat box is still open. If none, I'm going to try to share you a different screen. Say yes.
Oh, yes.
Okay. That was really just a test to make sure you're still awake. All right. So let's see if I can do this. I'm going to stop the share here.
There you go.
Yep. Did you just see a screen of really big version of my face?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, that was probably a little frightening. I'm going to see if I can get here. I love this program, Zoom, but it is sometimes difficult to switch up things. Okay, here I am again, right? Big me.
Yep.
Yep, okay, thank you. I have, in fact, lost the tools. There we go, share. All right, now you should all be seeing my personal Facebook page. True?
Yes.
Yep.
Starts at the top with a different version of my face and blank box. Okay, so let's pretend this is your boss comes in, or you, the boss, says it's time to create an ad, but you're starting, as we all do, with our opening up Facebook, and here we are at my personal page. You can create an ad for the business page that you own over here. You can create it by starting here. Here's the create button. And here again, I showed you a still version of this. But under the word create, you can create a page. That means a whole new business page. Create an ad, create a group, create an event, create a marketplace listing. That's those online yard sale type things you've seen, or create a fundraiser. So we're after creating an ad. Okay, so I'm clicking on that, and it opens up. Keep your fingers crossed. It opens up this thing called Ads Manager. If you, however, have never created an ad before, it might open up something that is Ad Manager, but it won't look exactly like this. Oh, it's remembering something I was started to do. That thing I showed you, my page. So Facebook is pretty brilliant. It remembers, if you hang up on it, as it were, in the middle of an ad, it will remember where you were, and you can say, continue. So in other words, it saves a draft. Continue or start over. At this point, I want to start over. And I'm going to see if I can get to Carolyn's question about interests. So here we are. Does this look familiar to you all? Awareness, consideration, conversion. What do we want to do? So this is building an ad from scratch. It's not a promoted event. It's not a boosted post. It's not a come like my page. It's building from scratch, okay? So I've just decided, I want to build an ad that drives traffic to a certain place. And I clicked on traffic, and down below it's thinking about it. And it says, you don't have to do any of this. You can just continue from here, but I want to point out one option here. This is something for down the line. You see where it says create split test? Shout it out. Yep. Create split test. If I were to turn that on, it would walk me through the process of creating 2 ads simultaneously, but in those 2 ads, one element is different from the other. In other words, it's a way for you to test, do they like the picture of the horse, or do they like the picture of the older lady? You see what I'm saying? So that's actually recommended or any advertising campaign anywhere out in the world outside of Facebook or in, that you do a little test to see what gets the most action. This picture or that picture, or this set of text or that set of text, or this headline versus that headline. And it's a really fun way to sort of get at what resonates with your specific audience. So I recommend that. I won't do it here because it's more complex than we can get into, but I'm just going to tell this template building area what I want to do. And my apologies, it is going very slowly. We are back at building the ad, and it's saying, well, you want to drive traffic. Where do you want to drive it to? That's the first question. And here are the choices: website and app. Again, that's an app that I've built. Facebook Messenger. In other words, you can deliver an ad within Messenger to your people who have liked your page. Or to WhatsApp. This is a new addition to this. WhatsApp is another thing owned by Facebook. I have no experience with it whatsoever. Dynamic creative means give me a few images to choose from, and I'll deliver them randomly. That's what that means. An offer.
That is good if you're trying to get a whole bunch of foreigners.
Yep.
Oh, I thought I was on the meeting. Sorry.
That's okay. An offer is it'll format something that's like a coupon or a discount. Oh, that was an interesting concept. And it's just it gives you the area to set up the budget. It gives you the area to set up the audience, and it's my system has gotten kind of hung up here because Zoom is open too. But I just want to show you that building an ad from scratch is pretty much the same process we just went through to build us an ad whose purpose is to get people to like your page. And it's very similar to the boosting the post. If you click that button, boost my post now, something very similar to this would come up. You're gonna have to trust me on that. All right, now we're gonna go back to my big face. And then here. All right, I'm gonna stop there and say, what are the questions that you have? We've got 5 minutes left. Did I cover it all? Your mics are open. Your chat box is open. Are you inspired or intimidated?
I'm inspired.
Oh, yay. Okay.
Hi, it's Shaquanda. I've tried the boosting the app before, and I actually did a pretty good job of promoting. I got maybe 2 or 3 clients off of it, which was nice. But I want to try and see how the ad does, because lately the video's been fantastic.
Oh, good. Have you done a video ad?
In my own version, yes. I'm going to try to promote it on the way that you just showed us to see if that's more traffic, because I can be more detailed with it.
Yes, you can. Yep. So just for the rest of you out there, an ad that's built from scratch, as it were, that contains a video, the data is right now showing us that that's the best kind of ad that you can build on Facebook, because Facebook is it's leaning towards video. It wants people to use video, so it will do things to its algorithm to ensure that video-based ad is really seen. More guaranteed than others. Carolyn says, the ads are not connected to your business page, just your personal account? No, sorry, the reverse is true, Carolyn. The ads are connected to your business page, and what I just showed you was to show you that even though you're in your personal page, when you click that word create and then add, you really have gone over to associate the ad building area with the business page. I hope that makes sense. But turning that around another way, personal people cannot create ads. Your personal page cannot, your personal profile on Facebook, you cannot create an ad. It has to be a business page. If you are like me and you manage more than one business page, there is an area where you say, I'm building an ad now in honor of this business page, not that one. There's a simple toggle switch for that. Does that make sense, Carolyn? You could type into the chat. Steve, do you have any questions?
Nope, it seems pretty straightforward.
Okay.
I'm Intrigued, intimidated.
And intimidated, but I know when I first met you, you were way intimidated, and you no longer are in that regard. So,
In the bag.
yeah, Carolyn is saying she didn't see the option to pick the business, and for me, it was just a matter of when I made that choice, it knew who I was because I do it all the time, so it did it automatically. Sorry, Caroline. When you do that, when you go to create an ad, it will ask you what business page do you want to associate with this ad. It'll be there, I promise. You're again, you have to take my word for it, but I will send you some screenshots to show that when my system is running better. Stephen,
Yeah.
have you done either of the boosted posts or a promoted event?
I've done boosted posts
Good for
on
you.
the Facebook. I didn't realize I wasn't supposed to add, so they bounced me out of there.
You weren't supposed to do what?
Add on my personal.
Oh,
Put it an ad, so they boosted me out of there. I learned that.
oh yeah, it will. It literally won't let you do it, so it won't get you too far. But so now that I've done that, I want to hark back to my first slide, which was to give you an assignment. I hope that you've got enough confidence now that you would promise me you'll spend $10 between here and Christmas and run an ad if you can, if you don't have to run this by somebody else in the business who might object, but run an ad to boost a post if you haven't ever done that. Do a boosted post, spending $10. Or run an ad that says, come like my page, and do that for $10. And pick your appropriate demographics and pick a good time frame, no more than 4 days. And just to get your feet wet. It's a good $10 spend. And you'll see that maybe you did something wrong, or man, that one really worked, or I really should target pepperell mass or something like that. You might learn from it when you do the little actual experiment spending money. Now, Facebook pays me no money to do this. I get no endorsement from Facebook. I just think it's good to learn by doing. And if you can take $10 and do that over the next 15 days, and then if I didn't make this clear, the data behind your ad is very detailed. You will see you reached one person in Peterborough, but 3 people in New Boston, and you will see if nobody clicked on it, and you will see if 5 people clicked on it, or if they shared it. And my overarching message is learn from the data behind the ad, and then use what you learned to build the next campaign. So that's your steps. Experiment, learn, try again, and then when you're feeling really comfortable, actually look at your next year. Here we are at the end of the year. Look at your year coming up and plan out what you know you really must promote. That big fundraiser in March, or that special you're going to run in June, and literally fill out a calendar. Here's one that I have right by my side. I have a planning calendar at all times where I sketch things in and then work backwards from to make sure I've done a post about it and I've boosted it, and maybe I've spent some money on an ad to promote the things that are coming up. So literally doing business well means having a good marketing plan, and doing Facebook well means having a good Facebook advertising plan. So I hope that you will all give yourself that assignment to do that. And if you like, report back to me the results of the next thing that you do try spending money on. I would love to hear about it. Okay.
Yes, we're definitely going to do that.
We're definitely going to do that. All right. So at this point, we're going to hang up, and reminder, you'll get a recording of this. It might be later today, or it might be Monday morning, and it'll come to you in the form of a link. I'd like to invite you to ask me questions via email for the next week or so, not forever, but for the next week or so. Drop in and say, what did you say about that one thing? And I'll try to clarify. And I know that there are people on this call that weren't on the call. They are just doing the recording. So I hope that you too will feel free to email me with questions. And if you should have my email address right there, but if not, it's chris@halversonnewmedia.com, and I will get it, I promise, and I will answer you, I promise. Coming attractions. I'm doing another thing like this on January 8th, a webinar called Learn to Make Beautiful Graphics for Social Media. And that is, if you don't feel comfortable making cute things like what you see there, or putting words over the faces of the deer or whatever it is, come and do that. It's we just have a lot of fun. And let's see, what else? We talked about my video partner, Nanette, who Anthony and Shaquila have heard many times, but we are doing another thing in Nashua where we teach you how video marketing works, and then we make you go on camera to get your confidence boosted up. And Nanette is a lot of fun, isn't she, Anthony?
Yes, she is.
All right, we have a good time doing this. You will learn a lot. Okay, so you'll hear about those because you're already on my email list. Oh, say again, Anthony?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was reading the
that's
flyer
okay.
that you had on the screen.
Yep, so you'll get this in the video. And all right, this is the last call for questions, comments, complaints in the chat or loud or out loud. Anybody?
No, thank you very much.
We figured
Thank you.
you got everything. Thank you. We definitely appreciate your time, your energy, and your love into what you do to give it to us.
Thank you, Anthony. I love doing this. So thanks for joining me yet again. And we'll see you all on the recording and hopefully in some future webinar. Enjoy your weekend.
All right.
All right.
You also.
All right. Bye now.
Bye.
Bye-bye.